So I want to mention that the AFC North has been one of the best divisions in football for a long time now. Well, maybe not a long time, but probably for the past decade. Um, just a couple of years ago, three teams out of the AFC North made the playoff. Just like the NFC North last year, the AFC North they had it was the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers made the playoffs just a couple years ago. All three of them. The AFC North has fallen. Um, the Ravens are still there, of course, but the other three teams seem to be in quite some interesting situations or predicaments, and I just think the North has it's lost its glory. Unfortunately, the AFC North was literally the best division in football for a little bit. No longer hold that title, so let's get into it. Starting with, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. They are going to win this division. I have no doubt about that. I would put money on that. Actually, that's how confident I am about that. Lamar Jackson. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, two MVPs, a kiss away from the Super Bowl multiple times. He's going to do his thing. The Ravens are going to do their thing. They even added more talent this year. I mean, of course, Derrick Henry last year was the big addition. Well, they added DeAndre Hopkins this year. They had a great draft. They got a guy out of a safety out of South Carolina, I think. Just a great draft for them. They're going to win this division. I have no doubt about that. They are way better than every other team in that division right now, in my opinion. And yeah, not much to talk about with them. Like, they're going to win that division. Oh, but I do believe the Ravens will get the bye. So I think they will get the bye this year. I think they will have the best record in the AFC. So I give the Ravens the bye and also the AFC North championship. Number two. Now, everything after number one is kind of a toss-up for me. I mean, other than I don't think the Browns are going to be number two, but the number two could be the Bengals or the Steelers. I'm going to go with the Bengals just because kind of by default, like the Bengals, we know that they're talented on offense. That's not the problem. They have Joe Burrow. They have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. They're fine on offense. They're one of the best offensive teams in the NFL. We saw that last year. That wasn't a problem for them last year. They missed the playoffs last year because of their defense, and that continues to be a problem. The Bengals front office, whatever your opinions are about what's going on, if you fans out there know what the Bengals front office has done, not only this year but in previous years, they don't treat their players very well. They're very cheap. Their owner is very cheap. He doesn't like to pay their guys. Well, he'll pay Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, but he won't pay anybody else. But
Right.
for some reason, they refused to sign their best defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, who had the most sacks out of any player last year. Most sacks came from one of the worst defenses in football. That's one guy absolutely being a force of nature every single game because his defense is terrible, yet he is producing. So instead of rewarding him like they did their offensive players, he is now in a holdout and refuses to practice or show up because they will not pay him the money he deserves. I can't explain why. I can't explain why. The only reason why you didn't get back to the playoffs last year was because of your defense, but yet you refuse to fix it. You refuse to pay your best defensive player. Not only that, but the guy that was on the other side, also very talented defensive end, Sam Hubbard, retired. He
Yeah.
retired early. I think he was only like 29 or 30, and he's like, I'm not playing for this organization anymore.
I
He's just
mean,
up and retired.
you want to talk about being a stingy owner when you're the last team in the league and it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. You're the last team in the league to have an indoor practice facility, and you're in Cincinnati, Ohio. Like, like you, I don't know how else to like describe him other than just cheap and stingy. But yeah, no, I just wanted to add that in when we're talking about the Bengals being cheap and stingy, because if you you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, like, it gets cold. What do you mean you don't have an indoor facility? You're an NFL football team. Yeah, no, he does not like to spend money, and I just can't tell you why, because he can spend money and still make money, but he's a problem. I wanted to get that off my chest, but yeah, continue, Saison.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Tom, because that is a problem that a few NFL teams have is their owner, and that's the one thing the team can't control. The team can fix everything else, but they can't fix the owner. The owner is the owner, and if your owner does not have your best interest in heart, it doesn't even make sense because it's their team. Like, why would you not want to do right by your team? Why would you not want to have your team to have every advantage to win? And I don't know. He obviously it's not as important to him as it is to, another owner that's going to do everything he can to make sure his team has every asset to win. So the Bengals owner, I don't know. He's an interesting guy. I don't know how you're a billionaire and you're cheap, but that's what he is. And the Bengals suffer because of it. So Joe Burrow's going to suffer again because of it because they still didn't fix their defense. They drafted a guy first round out of Texas A&M. Defensive end Shamar Stewart to replace Trey Hendrickson or Sam Hubbard, I guess, because neither of them are there anymore or right now. And now he won't sign. He's holding out because they put something in his contract that he doesn't like. Basically, something saying that, if you get in trouble, that basically we don't have to pay you anything or something like that. And he doesn't like that, so he's holding out. He's back at Texas A&M practicing with them. So it's just like, I don't know what the Bengals are doing. This is why I don't have much faith in them this year because what are you doing? It's very simple. Sign Trey Hendrickson, sign Shamar Stewart, get some defense.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You have the offense on lock. That's all you need. It's very simple. It's not like you're the Jets. And
Right.
you got to figure everything out. You have a coach. You have the offense. Fix the defense. But no, he doesn't want to win enough. So for a team that just made the Super Bowl just 2-3 years ago, as we maybe forgot already, but they made the Super Bowl like 2-3 years ago.
Yep.
And now what? Now you're just going to waste their primes and waste your window of opportunity. So, but by default, I think the Bengals come in second because the other two teams, I think, are even worse than them. So Bengals in second. Oh, excuse me. The Bengals do make the playoffs. Okay, I think they'll win enough games to make the playoffs this year, but I just think that their defense is just gonna hold them back again, and it's gonna prevent them from getting to the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. So the Bengals do make the playoffs, though. I do have them as a wild card in that second spot, but I just can't figure out what they got going on in the front office. So Bengals there. Steelers coming third. Now the Steelers are such a weird team because they are the model of consistency, and we know that. They have made the playoffs, like 8 years in a row now, 10 years in a row, something like that.
Well, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
Mike Tomlin has never had a season under 500.
Under 500, yeah.
That's just crazy because even Bill Belichick had a losing season once upon a time. So the Steelers are the model of consistency, so it's hard to, put them – I can't put them last, you know what I mean, because they are going to win enough games to be average at least. But the Steelers are such a weird team because I think they're kind of in a limbo situation right now. Like Mike Tomlin, even though he's been there forever, it kind of seems like he might be inching on the way out. There's been talks about him being replaced because, the Steelers faithful is just getting impatient. And they don't seem like they can elevate past this level. And they can't figure out the quarterback situation since Ben Roethlisberger retired. They have not figured out the quarterback, and it's due part to the fact that they win too many games every year that they can't get a high draft pick. But there's other ways to get quarterbacks, and they just haven't figured that out. They literally did this game with Aaron Rodgers this offseason. They played this dancing game where they were just waiting around for Aaron Rodgers to make up his mind about what he wanted to do. And, I just don't see why, because Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old and he has not had a good season in like 3 years. Like, he's not the same Aaron Rodgers that we saw winning MVPs and making NFC Championship game with the Packers. Like, he's just not. And now you see him, what he did with the Jets, and then you're waiting for him, and you refuse to draft a quarterback. They could have drafted a quarterback. I mean, they got Will Howard, but that was in the 6th round. They could have drafted a quarterback higher than that. And they just decided, no, we're just going to wait around for Aaron and hope Aaron is turns back the clock or something. I'm like, he's not Tom Brady. Like he has not consistently maintained his level of performance as he gets older. He keeps getting worse. So the Steelers are another weird team for me where I don't know what their front office is doing. I don't know what you're doing with the quarterback situation. It's terrible. The last few years, you went back and forth between Mason Rudolph and I can't even remember, but it's just
Kenny, what is it? Kenny
Kenny Pickett.
Pickett's? Yeah,
Kenny
yeah.
Pickett and Duck Hodges one year. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, and then somehow they still manage to win 9, 10 games a year and make the playoffs. But as we know, they are a automatic first round exit every single year. They are not going to go past the wild card divisional round. So the Steelers are just seem to be like they seem to be okay with their mediocrity, and that's fine. That's fine if that's all you care about is making the playoffs, but you're not winning anything. You're not even winning your own division. You're not winning a playoff game. You're not winning the Super Bowl. So the Steelers, just another team that I just can't seem to wrap my mind around right now. I think they'll be fine. They'll win another 6, 7, 8, 9 games, but I think this time they might take a little step back, and they're going to miss the playoffs this year, and I think they might clean house. So we'll see. We'll see. But Steelers coming third. And then, of course, last but not least, the Cleveland Browns, my grandpa's team. Shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland Browns. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, there's a lot to say, but I mean, we know the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are going to be the Cleveland Browns. What happened with Cleveland is that they had a chance. They had a slimmer of hope when they got Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, you and you're an Oklahoma guy, yeah.
Baker Mayfield, my dog.
Hey, he
They
was he was a glimmer of hope for them. I will agree with you on that.
That was their best opportunity to turn around their fortune. And what did they do? They pushed them out the building. I will stand on this hill as long as the Browns suck and that Baker Mayfield is now flourishing in Tampa Bay. If they would have just kept Baker and got a different coach, they would be winning right now. And I stand on that. But instead, they said, no, we can do better than Baker. We're going to go get Deshaun Watson from Houston, and then you can go and do whatever you want, Baker. We don't need you. We got Deshaun. Well, how did that turn out, Cleveland? How did that turn out? Deshaun Watson is making like $1 million a second, and he's not even playing. He's going to be out the entire upcoming season. He's not even on the roster, the active roster right now, and you're paying him $1 million a second. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield is in Tampa Bay, taking him to the playoffs year after year, and he is flourishing.
You know,
So
it kind of seems sometimes it's like the Browns front office tries, and it's like respectfully, Deshaun Watson was a better quarterback than Baker at one point. So I can
at the point,
at one point, but at the
but they
moment,
had a guy. You need to go get a guy when you have a guy.
yeah, right. And it's just like I think that's why the Browns continuously go into their poverty franchise cycle. It's like we have a chance, we have a glimmer of hope, we make the playoffs. What do? Let's ship away our starting quarterback that carried us all the way there. Cleveland loved him. I mean, he had some great plays in Cleveland. He got the crowd going. But yeah, Browns is like, man, the Browns and the Jets, it's like, will we ever see them win or even have a winning season? Yeah, I'm sure they'll have a winning season and make the playoffs, I guess, but will we ever see them make an actual run, like an actual legitimate run to the Super Bowl? Because Baker took the Browns to the playoffs. And like if you're the Browns, that's all you're asking for. Like you don't it's like you're not asking for a Super Bowl right now. You're asking let's make the playoffs first. And what happens? Oh, Baker makes the playoffs. Oh, Baker's the problem. How is I just again, we're on the same page with this, but it's like when you talk about the front office moves, you draft Gabriel and Shadur Sanders while you have Deshaun Watson, and then it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But anyway, I'll let you finish.
I have no idea, Tom. And yes, just like the Jets, the Browns are just that team that it's their fault why they suck. They are the reason why they don't win games. You can't blame anybody else. No one feels bad for you. The Browns do it to themselves. You had a chance to finally turn your franchise around, and you decided you could do better, and just to have that smack you right back in the face. So can't feel bad for the Browns, unfortunately. Now, their current situation with their QB room, I don't know what they're doing. They drafted Dylan Gabriel. They drafted Shador Sanders. They signed Kenny Pickett. They still have Deshaun. They signed Joe Flacco. I don't know what they're doing. It seems like they kind of just like, okay, we give up. We don't know who's the guy. We can't find him. So we're just gonna have this just this frenzy quarterback competition, and whoever's the best, may the best win. And it kind of just seems like that's a losing strategy. And the Browns, overall, I mean, their defense is always pretty decent. They got playmakers on offense. It's just that they're just an incompetent franchise, and they're not good enough to compete with everybody else like that. So they're going to win a couple games that you might not expect them to win, but all in all, I think they're going to finish last. And it's sad because they wasted away Baker Mayfield, and now they're wasting two people's primes. They're wasting Myles Garrett prime. Myles Garrett, I thought he was going to leave. I thought he was going to leave over the offseason. I don't know why you would want to stay in Cleveland this long. He's already been there his
Oh,
entire career. But I guess Cleveland threw so much money at him that he couldn't say no.
I
So
was gonna say, when they throw $100 million in your face, that's kind of
I
hard
mean,
to
but
say
he could have
no.
got he could have got 90 million from a team that was going to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah, yeah. I understand. Yeah.
I guess so. He resigns with them, and he's going to waste away his career, unfortunately. But and then their coach, Kevin Stefanski, great coach, just a great coach, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a front office owner in a franchise that backs him up all the way. They don't back him up all the way. They're not giving him their full support. They're giving him a bad hand, and they expect him to go out there and win games.
Right.
And it's just not fair to him. So
Right.
unfortunately for those two, they're kind of wasting away their primes. But that's the nature of the NFL, unfortunately. So the Browns come in last. Just hoping that Shador takes over them like halfway through the season. That's really all I care about. Shador Sanders being their starting quarterback by the end of the year. But other than that, the Browns are pretty irrelevant. And that would be the AFC North. So do you want to give your picks, Tom?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Go
So
ahead.
my AFC North again. This is going to be a wild pick. All right, I know it's going to be controversial,
Man, don't
but
start it off with craziness.
man, I got the Bengals winning the AFC North. Call me crazy, but the Bengals averaged 28.7 points per game last year. Now, in the NFL, that should equate to a winning season. But last year they only ended up 9-8. Well, and also 9-8 with a 5-game winning streak to end the season. Let's not forget that. Okay,
It's
so
playoffs, unfortunately.
missed the playoffs. Steelers again, and you look at it. So the Bengals won 5 in a row to end the season. The Steelers lost 4 in a row to end the season. I think the Bengals are coming on hot. They just, like you said, it's like I don't understand the front office and why they won't pay their best defensive players, but I think that they can come around and just put together a defense that maybe allows 20 points a game. Because if you're the Bengals and you allow 20 points per game and you're scoring 28, I mean, that's a win. I don't understand how the Bengals even went 9-8 last year. Like they were bad. They were really bad. The over was hitting on every single Bengals game, let me tell you that. But 9-8 with 3-5 home record, 6-3 away, which to me that kind of speaks like, hey, this team can win. It doesn't matter where they're at. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They can win. And so I think the Bengals win the AFC North. Now, obviously, you have the Ravens, and I think the Ravens come in a close second, but and Ravens are great. haven't the main thing about the NFL is like, have you gotten worse or have you gotten better over the offseason? And obviously, we've talked about the Bengals defense. I have faith that the Bengals defense can come around and at least contain teams. But I think with the Bengals offense and the way Zach Taylor runs that offense, also shout out my Nebraska boy. But Zach Taylor, it's funny because Zach Taylor played on a team at Nebraska that scored a bunch, but the defense, they would score 40 points, but the defense would let up 45. So I think he's kind of aware. He knows what to do. Again,
At least he's consistent, right?
right, he's consistent. His offense is great. His offense has never been bad. He's never had a bad offense, period. And in the NFL, let alone, like when if only he could coach the team he was on in college, Jesus, we might have won something. But I think the Bengals finish first and the Ravens finish second. And then I have the Steelers in third because, kind of like you said, the Steelers are very consistent. They'll win enough games to not be the first overall pick. They kind of remind me of the Vikings. I think the Steelers and the Vikings are the same team in the AFC and the NFC. But then obviously the Browns in last because they are a unfortunate poverty franchise right now. So those are my rankings for the AFC North. But yeah, I feel like the Bengals are going to make a run.
And then on the Steelers, I like how you made that comparison to the Vikings. I think the better comparison for the Steelers is the Cowboys. Um,
Oh no.
One, because of both of their histories, they both have long histories, like 5, 6 Super Bowls each, and they also played each other in Super Bowls multiple times. So they both have the history, but now they seem to be both in the same boat. They both win games, but then they get to the playoffs and they immediately lose. Like
Yeah.
both of them. That is the story of the
So,
Cowboys, the story of the Steelers. So um, I think those are like the twins of the NFL right there. They're proud, history-rich franchises, and they're currently good. Like they still win games. They're just not a threat to anybody once the playoffs start. So I like how you mentioned that.